Welcome to another episode of Learn English Through Story, where the past speaks and your English skills grow stronger with every moment. Today we uncover the mysterious and shocking life of a man the world still doesn't fully understand. He was born in silence, raised in secrecy, and trained for power long before the world even knew his name. He wasn't expected to lead, not the oldest son, not the most visible heir, but fate had other plans. This is the story of Kim Jong Un, a man who stepped out of the shadows and seized one of the most dangerous thrones on earth. To some, he's a cunning strategist defending his country against global threats. To others, he's a tyrant. Unpredictable, brutal, and obsessed with control. From a Swiss classroom to the nuclear stage of global politics. From palace intrigue to missile parades, his life is a modern-day enigma. And today, we dive deep into that enigma in simple, clear English so you improve your language while exploring one of history's most secretive leaders. Listen closely. Repeat if you'd like. And stay with us, because once this story begins, you won't want to miss a moment. Let's begin with the birth of a dictator. Kim Jong Un's birthday is believed to be January 8, 1984. However, some claim it's 1983. Why such secrecy? Because in North Korea, every detail about the leader's life is tightly guarded. Most reports say he was born in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, but rumors suggest he may have actually been born in Switzerland. Strange, right? A European birth for a North Korean ruler. His father Kim Jong Il led the country before him, and his grandfather Kim Il-sung was the nation's founder. So Kim Jong Un was born into a dynasty of power. Yet for years his existence remained unknown. Now imagine growing up destined to lead a country, but the world doesn't even know you exist. That was Kim Jong Un's early life. His father had multiple children with different women, and Kim Jong Un's mother, Ko Yong-hwe, wasn't his wife, she was one of his mistresses. This meant Kim Jong Un wasn't originally chosen to rule. The spotlight was on his older half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, who was expected to take over, but destiny had other ideas. Despite the country's suffering, where people were starving and oppressed, Kim Jong-un's childhood was filled with luxuries, imported toys, Western video games, gourmet meals, and personal tutors. But behind the luxury was a strict, lonely life. Kim Jong-il was obsessed with control. His children weren't allowed to make friends. Everything was monitored by the regime's bodyguards. Here's something even more surprising. Kim Jong-un didn't grow up in North Korea. From 1996 to 2001, he studied in Bern, Switzerland, under an alias. He pretended to be the child of a North Korean diplomat. No one suspected that he was a future authoritarian ruler. So what was life like for Kim Jong Un in Switzerland? Shockingly ordinary. He went to a regular school, loved playing basketball, and idolized Michael Jordan. He enjoyed American fast food like hamburgers and pizza. Reports even say he smoked, drank, and dated several girls. But there's one chilling story. One of his girlfriends, a singer, was reportedly executed on his orders after being accused of appearing in a video he didn't approve of. A grim reminder of how dangerous his world is. He didn't seem to admire democracy. In fact, he continued to embrace his father's authoritarian mindset. He would doodle tanks and war scenes and openly told classmates that he would someday be a great leader. Then, just like that, he vanished in 2001. At 17, Kim Jong Un was brought back to North Korea. The reasons remain unclear. What's certain is that everything everything changed. Kim Jong Un began intense training. He studied the country's history, memorized political theory, and underwent military education. He was coached to speak with authority, lead an army, and show no emotional weakness. The cheerful teenager who once dreamed of slam dunks and fast food started transforming into a cold, hard ruler. But a major challenge still stood in his way. His older half-brother, Kim Jong Nam, was still officially next in line to lead the nation. His father, Kim Jong Il, was watching both his sons carefully, trying to decide which one would carry on the family legacy. His eldest son, Kim Jong Nam, didn't fit that mold. Jong Nam had a taste for modern life. He loved movies, computers, and leaned toward democratic ideas. In 2001, he tried to sneak into Japan using a fake passport to visit Tokyo Disneyland. This incident humiliated his father. That blunder sealed his fate. He was exiled, first to China and later to Malaysia. With his older brother out of the picture, Kim Jong-un's moment had arrived. From that point on, Kim Jong-un was molded to become a brutal leader. His father gave him command over the military and forced him to witness public executions. To understand the power of fur, his face appeared in public offices, songs were composed in his honor, and students were told that he was a gifted genius long before he officially took over. What's most shocking, Kim Jong-un was barely in his 20s. He had no experience running a nation, let alone one with nuclear weapons. But Kim Jong-il was running out of time. His health was rapidly declining after suffering several strokes, and the country was in urgent need of a successor. Then came the turning point, December 17th, 2011. Kim Jong-il passed away. Kim Jong-un, thanks to his tight grip on the military, immediately stepped in and declared himself the new leader. And just like that, at just 27 years old, Kim Jong-un became the ruler of one of the most isolated and feared regimes on earth. But taking power was only the beginning. Holding on to it would be even harder. Kim Jong-un knew that the greatest danger to his rule came from inside his own bloodline. His exiled brother, Kim Jong-nam, was still alive. If people found out that the elder son of Kim Jong-il was still out there, it could spark rebellion. So Kim Jong-un made a ruthless decision. On February 13th, 2017, Kim Jong-nam was walking through Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. Two women suddenly approached and smeared a strange substance on his face. Within moments, he collapsed. He was dead in just 20 minutes. The cause? VX nerve agent, one of the most lethal poisons known to man. The two women had been tricked into thinking they were filming a prank show. They had no idea they were carrying out a state-ordered assassination. This horrifying act sent a clear message: no one is safe, not even family. To tighten his grip, he continued eliminating anyone who might pose a threat. In 2013, he ordered the execution of his uncle, Jang Song-thaek. Officially, the regime accused him of treason. In reality, he was gaining too much influence, and Kim Jong-un couldn't tolerate that. Over the years, hundreds of top government officials were executed, many in public, to terrify the population into obedience. Some were killed with anti-aircraft weapons, a method so brutal it shredded their bodies. Even generals who had been loyal to Kim Jong-il for decades were not spared. If there was the slightest suspicion of disloyalty, execution followed swiftly. By the year 2018, more than 400 senior officials had been removed, cementing Kim Jong-un's absolute control. And it didn't end with political figures. Thousands were imprisoned in labor camps, forced into brutal work conditions until they died from exhaustion or starvation. As Kim Jong-un tightened his grip on power, North Korea transformed into a theater of fear. Entire families were punished for the smallest suspicion of disloyalty. If one person dared whisper a complaint, generations could vanish into labor camps. It wasn't justice, it was a message: loyalty or death. Kim Jong Un wanted total psychological control. Schools began teaching children that he was a godlike figure. Students rehearsed tears for his speeches, and if someone didn't cry enough, if they didn't appear to worship him with enough passion, they risked imprisonment or worse. Behind this cold and calculated ruler, however, lay a life shrouded in mystery. His wife, Ri Sol-ju, once a rising pop singer in the Unhasu orchestra, was suddenly thrust into the spotlight as North Korea's first lady. According to rumors, she disappeared for years, and when she returned, her appearance had changed. She occasionally appears by Kim's side, always smiling, always dressed to perfection. What lies behind that smile remains unknown. Is she a cherished partner or another prisoner behind the palace gates? It's believed he has 3 with Ri Sol-ju. One is rumored to be a boy, possibly the next heir. Another, a girl. The third remains a total mystery. But then something unexpected happened. In 2022, the world caught a rare glimpse of Kim's daughter, Kim Ju-ae. She stood beside her father at a missile launch site dressed formally, her demeanor eerily confident. Speculation exploded. Was she being groomed as the future ruler? To emphasize her uniqueness, Kim Jong Un reportedly banned anyone in the country from using her name. Think about that. An entire population forbidden from sharing their identity. That's not just secrecy, that's control at its most extreme. Despite the image of control, Kim Jong Un is consumed by paranoia. His greatest fear: assassination. His meals are tested for poison. He constantly changes residences so no one knows where he'll sleep. His personal security staff is rotated regularly, so no guard becomes too familiar. He doesn't trust his ministers, he doesn't trust his generals, he doesn't trust anyone. That paranoia has led to one of the most extreme surveillance systems on earth. Citizens are watched, monitored, and recorded. Neighbors spy on neighbors. Children report their own parents. A single misstep, an eye roll, and your family could disappear. And then there's the darkest rumor of them all, the so-called pleasure squad. Young women reportedly handpicked and trained to entertain the supreme leader and his top officials. They lived in complete secrecy, forbidden from speaking about what they'd seen. Kim Jong Un presents himself as a confident leader on the world stage. He smiles in the photo, gives speeches about peace. But behind the camera, behind the perfectly tailored suit, lives a man obsessed with control, surrounded by enemies both real and imagined. State media, completely under his control, painted him as a god among men. In fact, the stories they spread about him were so bizarre they bordered on the absurd. According to these tales, Kim didn't need to use the bathroom because his body was too perfect. They claimed he wrote over 1,500 books during his school years in Switzerland and could control the weather with his emotions. While these stories sound ridiculous to the outside world, for North Koreans, they were sacred. Questioning them wasn't just dangerous, it was a death sentence. The country's prison camps, often compared to Nazi concentration camps, held men, women, and even children. Entire families for crimes as small as listening to foreign music. In 2020, the world held its breath. Kim Jong Un vanished from public view for weeks. No photos, no speeches, no announcements. Rumors exploded. Had he died? When he returned, something felt off. His face looked thinner. His movements are slower. Some experts claimed his face changed. His ears looked different. His teeth weren't the same. The theory gained momentum. Kim Jong Un might be using multiple lookalikes to cover for his declining health or shield himself from assassination attempts. Despite all the power, all the palaces, and all the propaganda, Kim Jong Un lives in fear, not just of enemies outside his borders, but of betrayal from within. His health continues to decline. His people are waking up. His army no longer trusts him, and the world is watching closely. But what happens if he dies? That's the question that terrifies not just North Korea, but the world. All eyes turn to one name, Kim Yo-jong. She's not just his younger sister. She's the most feared woman in North Korea. Sharp, cold, and fiercely loyal to the regime, Kim Yo-jong has quietly grown more powerful over the years. While her brother appears less and less, she's often seen by his side, whispering in his ear, standing just behind the scenes, orchestrating things quietly. Some insiders believe she's already calling the shots. And if that's true, her reign could be even more ruthless than her brother's. For now, Kim Jong Un remains in control. His image is still plastered across walls. His voice still echoes through loudspeakers. His soldiers still salute him with trembling hands. But history has never been kind to dictators. They either fall to rebellion, betrayal, or their own bodies. From Stalin to Saddam, from Ceausescu to Gaddafi, none of them stayed forever. Some believe Kim will die from his failing health. Others think someone close to him will eventually turn. And a growing number believe that one day, quietly, suddenly, the people of North Korea will rise up. Not with weapons, but with truth. And that was the story of Kim Jong Un. A man shaped by secrecy, born for power, and feared by the world. From the hidden halls of Pyongyang to the world stage of nuclear threats and peace talks, his life remains a puzzle, one still unfolding. To some, he is a bold protector of his people. To others, a dangerous dictator. But love him or fear him, one thing is clear. Kim Jong Un changed the rules of power and forced the world to take notice. We hope this story didn't just teach you history, but also helped you grow in English. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that make language learning unforgettable. Thank you for watching. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep discovering the world one story at a time. Until next time, stay tuned.